Hi, everybody. What's that character's name from The Simpsons?
I don't remember his name. Wait, he's the doctor.
Yes, he is a doctor.
Okay.
Guys, I have someone very important that you need to meet.
You're outside.
God.
Better be an animal.
Oh no. How do I switch the camera? Okay.
A horse. That was
That's
unexpected.
He doesn't want the carrot. There he goes.
Goodness, he's snubbing a carrot.
His name's Heber. My father-in-law's like a straight up cowboy. Walks around with the hat and everything.
Wow.
Isn't he cute?
Yes. Are the livestock feeling lethargic during the quarantine as well?
You know, Heber's the only animal we have, so he feels just about the same.
Okay. Brenna, are you
I know
showing
people
us
are
your
like,
animal as well?
Yeah, I made a bunny out of yarn for Easter.
He's off. He's done. Deal's closed.
I hear people are like going crazy with the chickens. Like buying a bunch of chickens.
People are buying chickens, it's true.
Bye,
You get to
Heber.
pet horses and walk around outside. That's fun.
Yeah, I gotta go inside now though. You know, class and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll join you guys from my laptop in 1 minute. Bye.
I know you're wearing your
teaching
dress.
She left.
Morgan, did you do your hair?
Yeah,
Looks fun.
first time in 3 weeks.
Don't you just feel better about life now?
Yeah,
You got contacts?
I have my contacts in. They're still the old ones. I'm ready to take them out.
The old ones.
Order online?
I probably can. I just haven't done it yet.
Oh.
Because I'm stubborn and I have like a year supply at my apartment. So I'm just going to suffer for now.
Do you have any of those cool cat eye contacts that make you look like Marilyn Manson or anything like that?
No.
Morgan, I can just ship them to you.
Are you in Provo?
Yeah.
I might have you break into my apartment.
Okay, I don't
The
mind.
problem is Sydney's not home.
Oh.
At least I think. I don't know. I'll check. We'll talk later.
Okay.
If you guys are planning on getting into the HVAC anytime soon, I would go soon because word on the street is they're gonna close a lot more buildings during spring.
Ugh.
I know, right, Tom?
This is hard. Life is hard.
Are you going into the buildings a lot? Are you working in the lab?
Well, I just have a lot in the lab and a lot on campus that I need to clean out. And I've been
Yes.
procrastinating.
Well, I think you have 2 weeks. One thing that should make you feel better about yourself is, did you see all those people involved in the making of the movie? There were 2 designers assigned to designing shapes. Only 1 assigned to modeling. 3 people assigned to shading. That was written by Italians. You can tell in the way that some of the sentences were written. They were just used Google Translate to get to the English. What questions do you have? What concerns do you have after watching this?
I feel like that was too scary for what it was for.
Yes.
It was very scary to look at.
it's digital design days, right? So digital content creators, user experience, the best and creative and business minds in the industry revealing exclusive content. So you didn't feel the visuals matched the text, the concept of the event. Is that what you're saying, Bram?
I think I was just thoroughly disturbed.
I agree.
My thing, I liked the visuals, but I feel like the music was the thing that made it like really freaky.
Yeah, the music was
Yes.
spooky.
But the visuals, I feel like could have fit the, you know, the what it was for, but the music was just like kind of spooky.
I just didn't
It's too long.
understand what the gelatinous blob was.
I don't either,
Well,
but I still want to eat it.
No eating the gelatinous content. It does look like toothpaste or something, doesn't it? It looks like nutrition gel that you would have in the middle of a quarantine when you can't find food.
Oh my gosh, don't you want to eat that? Oh, so good.
I kind of do want to eat that, yeah.
It kind of looks like buttercream.
Oh my gosh.
But these look like colorful intestines, though. I don't want to eat these.
Yeah, some of them are kind of gross.
Buttercream tripe.
I feel like if the colors were happy.
Luke.
What was your comment on the colors?
I wish they were happier.
Yeah, they're
Oh,
very
okay.
restrained,
Sad.
desaturated, right? This looks delicious, I will admit.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Was this made in octane?
It could have been made with octane. Some of the fluid simulations weren't made with cinema, but it could very well mostly have been made with cinema and octane. What do you guys think of that branding?
It's cute. I don't know if I like the type, but the logo's cool.
Type's a little bit flat, isn't it? A little yawnish, the mark. Let's see, how does the mark build on?
In the sense that it's
Yeah.
a saxophone player with long curly hair. Sorry, I'll stop.
Okay, I like this logo better. Detroit. That's who made this. Based in Milano. All right, you ready for one more? That one's called Useful Machines, which is an ironic title.
Complicated.
What questions do you have about that? First of all, real or CG?
Are we supposed to answer that?
Yeah.
My guess is fake.
Yes, of course it's CG, but check out these textures.
Yeah, how did they get like all the scratches and stuff on everything?
Texture mapping. There's something in Octane called a grunge map that helps you beat things up a little bit. Like George Lucas wanted Star Wars to look like a lived-in world, not a pristine world, and so he beat up his droids and his spaceships were scratched. That's one thing I appreciate about this piece is not only do they go crazy with depth of field, but all the textures are very real. Like there's scratches and like dust on the floor over on the left side of this screen. Yeah, I wouldn't have called it useful machines necessarily because I don't really understand what the machines are doing other than kinetic sculpture, which I guess has its use. Why do you think that so many CG creators make machines and systems that work perfectly, like satisfying videos, for example? And the ones that we watched, just so many of the things we've watched have these mechanisms moving perfectly. Why do you think creators love to make that sort of stuff?
Because motion design and like 3D make it more accessible, I guess. Like, or I don't know. But you can be more creative without like taking up a lot of space or like making it this big thing. Like you can just draw it out and make it. I
It's
don't
all
know.
inside your computer. You don't have to buy materials. I mean, if designers love to create order and love to reduce chaos and clarify things, it makes sense that they would like to make machines that work perfectly. And even though this one doesn't exactly serve too many practical purposes, it's just if you count all the parts that are working together and the amount of organization that you would need to get something like this to work, I'm amazed by the amount of planning in a machine like this. Like to make something like this would require so much sketching ahead of time. You know, sometimes Ben will ask the question about those satisfying videos that have those spheres that go back and forth, rock back and forth in the little cup. These things all have to be so planned out.
Do you have to do like math to plan the ratios and the timing and everything?
Yeah, there's at least simple math, yes. I'm not sure exactly how much math to make something like this, but you certainly, you know, I think when you're working with gears, and I'm not sure what this thing's doing right here, this gear, I can't really tell what that's controlling. But yeah, with gears, you definitely have to do the math and divide up how much each tooth, like how much rotation that is and whatnot. But this to me is an exercise, and not only that organization, that satisfying organization, but just in materials, the real world materials used here. It's just really well shot. I mean, if you take a look at, like, look at this clear, I don't know if it's glass or plexi, but check out the tones in there, the pink and stuff. It's really awesome. Ball bearings. Yeah, the glass. The fact that everything is scratched just lends a lot more realism. In the same way that you're not supposed to leave perfectly sharp edges on your geometry, you're supposed to round it off a little bit. Anything, no matter how brand new, has scratches on it, except for iPhones. They're pristine when you take them out of the box. It's 5 minutes later that they get scratched. So there. So I was under the impression that I sent you an email yesterday that talked about doing speed critiques today, but I was just checking my inbox and it turns out I didn't send any such email. Nobody got an email, right? Must have been a dream. How many of you feel like you'd have enough material to show your classmates in a speed critique today?
I have stuff, but they're not all fully functioning because I don't know how to do the rest of the stuff.
That's okay. Doesn't need to be fully functioning. Brenna's getting props in the chat. Well deserved, I might add. No, you don't have to have a finished product today. You should have a rough draft on Monday.
Mine are not that complicated. So
You chose simple machines, right?
kind of.
Brenna, what are you doing? Please share.
Should I screen share?
Yes.
I gotta
Yes,
open my
please.
files first, so continue.
While we open files, so you know how we did just a short soft body demo. If you were to prioritize your top 3 tutorials that you want to see that don't already exist, which is hard to say because almost everything exists. In the chat, what's your top on your list? You're like, I gotta learn how to do that. Type it in the chat. Not even necessarily for your final, but probably for your final, and that's probably why you want to learn it so bad. Just so I can prioritize if I'm going to make a tutorial, what area to focus on. Lighting. Lighting is pretty much everything, right? Lights and cameras. I mean, if you think about the fact that we're creating synthetic images, synthetic photography, it makes sense that lighting would be super crucial. It looks like I have a celestial light behind me, speaking of light. Hey, cool.
All right, so it's so simple. Now I'm embarrassed. Okay.
No embarrassment.
So the idea behind most of my ideas are that, let me get my sketchbook. I don't even remember. All right. So it's basically how I've like responded to COVID-19, like in my personal life. Like I've been like playing more, like doing more fun things. Obviously I've been eating and just like being productive and sleeping more. So I know that's not the case for everyone, but that's kind of what's happened for me. So this one is about eating and snacks. It's kind of Pac-Man-esque. So I'm trying to make it not Pac-Man-esque. But basically this little circle globe is me and my creativity, and he's a constant in all of the little videos. So it's him. I don't know why he's a him, but he's a him. Him is moving throughout all of these. So the hope and the end goal is that we can figure out the speed and that these little donuts will disappear as he eats them. So
those are donuts, not
Is it gonna grow
Cheerios.
bigger as it eats the donuts?
that sounds hard, Bram.
Okay, sorry.
But maybe we could. So it's a good thought. If I can figure out how to do it, we could try. So obviously there's no textures or anything, but I'm hoping that'll make it look cooler if we can do it successfully. And then this one, I don't know. Do I go through all of them and then we just talk about
Yeah,
them?
please.
Okay. So this one is, I've been playing this word game, and this is how you make the words. You go over them, and so I made them. It's like one of the things I've let myself do is play this little game, which I don't usually ever have games on my phone. So the idea is that these nice little buttons will be clicked and maybe they'll glow, and then they'll unclick and it'll start over. This one was
You're
Can I ask a question?
yeah.
Yes.
So on this one and the last one, did you like draw a spline for your ball to move on?
Yeah, so I basically just Googled if it was possible, which I knew it probably was, but I didn't know how to do it. So yeah, I just made a spline, and then you like connect the little, whatever you want to move. Let's see. Oh yeah, you could put this tag on that's called align to spline. You just right click and add it. Wow, I'm like a teacher right
You are
It's-
teaching us.
It's in the tags. Animation
Should be
tags.
under
Yeah.
animation tags.
Align to spline. You just add that on there, and then you say align to this. And mine's just named spline. So.
That's super cool.
So yeah, that's what I did. But oh, I want the ball to roll, but I don't know how to do that. So another question for later. Yeah, so there's that guy, and then this one is the most not done. But he's gonna, the idea is that as he goes through this little tube, he comes in and he's supposed to be all shriveled, and this tube is the representation of sleep and recharging. And when he comes out, he will be whole and he will be circled.
It is not an intestine. It's a sleep tube.
Yeah, it's a sleep tube. So, and it's like a Z. It's like Z. I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
that was dumb.
gotcha. I gotcha.
But I don't know how to actually do this one. So figuring that out. But yeah, those are
You know, that's fantastic, Brenna. Thank you for sharing. I would, you know, as I was looking at your middle one, your game one, I think these would all benefit from a long focal length, like a near isometric perspective.
okay. Can I just change that in my camera?
Yes. Yeah, you want to do that right now? Just select your camera.
Oh dear.
Just show everybody
Okay,
how you
so
would do that.
I go into my camera and then what?
Focal length in your object tab, which, yeah, there it is.
I just
Right
change
now it's, yeah,
class.
right now it's 36, which is pretty wide, and go to like super telly,
Oh dear. Oh man.
and you're gonna have to zoom out.
Isn't there an option where you can like set the camera to be like an actual isometric camera?
There is, absolutely.
So many things. Ooh, okay.
So yeah,
So what does this change? Because by zooming out, it looks the same to me, but what is it?
your lines are more parallel. It's decreasing the perspective
Gotcha.
and the way that your lines converge into the distance. Like you can't see as much of the sides of these buttons. Like if you scroll back to the beginning, are all the buttons unpushed again?
Mm-hmm.
Or are they all unpushed right now?
They're all
Yeah,
unpushed
see.
right now.
Yeah, so, oh, wait a second.
What?
Why is it back to 36? Oh, you got two cameras.
No, this one. That's the one we're on right now. Sorry.
Okay, okay. Yeah, see how the sides of the little cylinders, the button cylinders, are more parallel now, and your hexagon is more of a hexagon. It's not quite so extreme perspective. There's no right or wrong. It looks a little, I don't know. I think there's a reason why most of the 3D work we see is in isometric view, like the McMuffin piece we saw and a lot of the stuff you see on Instagram. It's just a way to make things a little bit more organized.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I'll do that. Sounds good to
So,
me.
yeah, to answer Bram's question, if you go back to the object tab, we'll just use Brenna's screen here to learn from.
What? Object tag? Oh, this one?
Object, yeah. So see that little drop down that's right above the, yeah, projection. You want to change the projection to isometric. There it is.
Ah!
And that gives
frog.
you perfect isometry.
So even if I rotate and stuff, it'll. Can I not rotate?
Isometric.
Oh, you can't.
It won't let me rotate.
It's a little bit limited, and actually some of the projections disable things like sketch and tune, which is why it's sometimes easier just to change the focal length to simulate isometric, because there are some limitations, yes. You can rotate your objects, but yeah, panning around in the camera is a little tricky in some of these projections. You should you should check them all out. Like Gentleman is crazy.
Oh, I don't even know where it was.
What was that?
Are we oh no, it's gone. Okay.
Just hit, there it is.
Oh,
It
it's,
totally
Let's-
changed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't like that. We're going back. We'll play with that later. Oh no.
So what do you do if you can't find your artwork? How do you
I don't
get it
know.
to center in the
It's
screen?
gone.
What do you guys click?
Is it option click?
It's option click. Will that do it? I
Isn't
always
it
just
like
select-
0 or O?
It's O or S. Sometimes H will work, but S is supposed to be selected object center in frame. So if you select it in the object manager and hit S, it should center it.
Wait. What?
Just S.
Yes. That did not work.
No. What about?
My little blue arrow is pointing me this way.
Maybe it's
Oh,
disabled in
try it.
Oh,
Oh,
we got it.
Sometimes
O. Did it?
S like multiple times and then it will come up.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Do I stop sharing now?
Sure.
Okay.
Anybody have any further questions for Brenna and her process or methods?
It's not that complicated. I'm embarrassed. It's so simple.
You know what?
Doing great, Brenna.
Okay.
You're doing awesome, and I appreciate you sharing with everybody. So far in the chat, we have lighting, we have depth of field again, we have dynamics in general, and aligned. There's plenty of aligned to spline tutorials. I could just give you a link to one of those. Are there any specifics about dynamics, though, Deb, that you've been struggling with when you've tried dynamics? What is the biggest frustration?
And how, like, symbolize, that's not the word. I guess, like, how to make something, one object have certain dynamics and the other one another, and then have them at different times. So, like, how to impact one object with certain dynamics at a certain time, and then the other one at a different time.
Yeah, everything we've done to practice dynamics has been just immediate. As soon as you press play on the timeline, it happens. But there are definitely ways to trigger things, like when two spheres collide, then the dynamics happen. You can trigger things with Espresso, the scripting language. So yeah, there's ways to control that. And if I can't find an existing tutorial, I'm sure there's an existing tutorial on Cineversity on this, then see if I can make one. More likely it'll be a curation of existing tutorials. Keyframing color
great.
changes. Hey, look at this. Dom is answering. Materials tab in the color itself.
So I
That
tried.
is,
Oh wait, did it work? Did I actually figure it out? And now I'm forgetting that I figured it out.
you know, it
But I
probably
think
only works in the
Yes.
render, the final render, not the.
Yeah, forget my comment. I did figure it out. I don't know why I just asked it.
Okay. And is that the way you did it? You just
Yeah.
keyframed the material color.
Yeah. Thank you, Dom, for the reminder.
I can show one. Huh?
Let's do it. Let's see it.
Although it doesn't really loop that well, so we're still figuring that out.
It's okay.
Okay, let me do this. Share screen. Which screen? This one.
Yes, and then Beth, you can go next.
Oh, was she next? You can go first.
No, she said she wanted to go after Dom.
Oh, okay. Ready?
I'm ready.
It's not that exciting. Don't get your hopes up.
It's Corona time. Hey, it's Corona time right now.
Oh my gosh.
It's Corona time right now.
The music, I'm dying.
But all my loops are gonna have this sound on it.
What video is that from? I've seen that. Is it like a hamster or something? Is it an animal?
Fuck.
It's just TikTok.
Yeah, but I saw one that had a. Anyway.
I think it's because I'm in sketch.
John Oliver.
Wait, what?
John Oliver had a video with the hamster on his show, and it showed the hamster washing his hands, and it had that music.
Yeah, that's the one I saw.
Oh,
Sorry, Dom, go ahead.
Dom, that was funny.
No, I think because I'm in Sketch and Tune that the rotation looks weird on the smiley face, but if I'm not in Sketch and Tune, then it looks fine. So I don't know.
I couldn't tell from the frame rate of being broadcast over Zoom. What's wrong with the rotation?
The smiley face looks like it has a glitch when it rotates around.
But it looked fine to me, but maybe.
Oh, maybe that's just my computer. I don't know.
I'd be coming across like at a lower frame rate either way, so we can't tell.
Yeah.
Ah, got it. But yeah, all my loops are gonna have that sound on it.
Well, that's good. That's good news. Thank you, Don. Beth, did you say you had an example of lighting that you wanted to know how it was done, or are you setting something up yourself? Or
no, yeah, there's let me show you. I'll show you.
Okay.
Okay, so this beautiful thing, like how did they do that? How? And same thing with like things like this. I can't tell if that's actually like real photography. It's not. Or maybe it is. I don't even know. See? Like great lighting, you know? I feel like it's so simple, or it looks like it'd be simple. I don't know. But I so far
the answer is 4 letters, Beth. Do you know what those 4 letters are?
Area, lights. Just kidding. I don't know.
HDRI.
That too.
Those are lit with HDRI. So we should definitely do that, or at least have a tutorial for HDRI. I think that kind of lighting where it looks like it's just in a sort of a medium lit room or an interior space or in the light of a window. This one sort of looks like it's in a sunny window. Yeah, it's gotta be HDRI, maybe enhanced with some other lights, but that sort of even studio lighting is easily achieved with HDRI. So I think your life will be improved by HDRI. A lot of your frustrations will go away. It feels like cheating, because like you load an image in, and then as long as you have it on physical render and all the other things turn on, it's beautiful, just like the images you showed us.
Okay. Well, because I think didn't we learned HDRI with Luke, and there were like cool canyons and things like that. Is it? I mean, I guess we already know how to, but if we just choose like a picture that's like a flat color or with a window, or
yeah, there are HDRIs that are studio lights. There are HDRIs that are outdoor scenes if you want it to look more like it's lit by the sun. What images did you load, Luke, on that day?
We did 2, like one which was just kind of a black and white simulation of like a few long lights like inside a studio. So that kind of just makes your reflections be more realistic. And then we did one where it was realistic, where it was like inside like a southern Utah canyon, and you could see how the lighting did it. But you could even, but yeah, like according to what you said, you could even just like put like even something plain or white like on your HDRI, and then just like play with how bright that is, and then do like a side light, and it'll give you like an even lighting plus a little bit of dimension. I don't know if that's the way, Brent, you would do it, but that's like one way.
Totally, yeah, that's a great way to do it.
Yeah. It's basically like, remember how we talked about global illumination and how it like calculates like a photon like bouncing off of one thing and then on another, and then that it calculates it multiple times. So there's like this whole beautiful like lighting mathematics happening to make it look like much more realistic by nature. So even just having that on, whatever you put, it'll automatically look a lot more realistic like that. But
yeah, the diffuse lighting you had in those scenes, Beth, is the result of just reflection. I mean, it's interesting once you start dealing with, when I got into Octane and I started noticing how light behaves, I would notice it in like real life. And you know, at night when it's pitch dark in your house and you have your phone light on, you see how it reflects off surfaces and it gives you that very diffuse lighting. It's just using real world physics, because if you think about it, light is just reflection off of objects, and that's what ray tracing is tracing the path of a ray of light bouncing off of different surfaces. And when you clamp the number of bounces, you know, the more bounces, the more realistic, but it just increases render time. So you sort of have to reduce the amount of times that these rays of light bounce around in the scene. Global illumination is what Luke was saying that does that. And it takes heck a long to render.
Thanks.
Who else wants to share and show and tell?
Brent, I have a question. Oh, sorry, Steph.
Oh, no, you're good. Go, Dom.
My Cinema 4D logged me out just now, and I don't remember the email. Was it our net IDs?
No, it should be your BYU email. Did you guys all use your BYU email, or did you just use a normal email?
I just personal.
Normal
Okay.
email.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Yeah, I used a personal email.
That happened to me yesterday. I just used my personal email.
Okay.
Dom, if you like search in your emails, just type in Maxon, you might have an email from them, like when you activated it, and whatever that email is.
Okay, thanks, guys.
I was gonna say I don't have like anything to show, but I do want to like just kind of run my ideas maybe by you guys.
Yes.
Okay.
This is your chance to get feedback from your peers.
Awesome. So I was just thinking about like as I'm sitting in quarantine, what am I like consuming the most of? And I have like a lot of anxiety, and so I've been like watching things that help me like feel less anxious. And one of those things is I've been watching these like videos on YouTube where people like restore vintage like toys and stuff. And they're so like soothing and like meditative in a way. It's just like this person's just doing like this, I don't know, just like methodical process, and it's like every video is like a really similar process, and I just like, it's also kind of ASMR. Like he sandblasts like the old paint off of it, and then he like sandpapers it, and then like turning something old into something new again. And I just kind of like this idea of just like I don't know, this like process, doing a process of something. It's like that scene in Toy Story 2 where the guy like paints Woody, you know, and it's just like the most satisfying thing ever, you know. So I want to do something with that. And then another thing I was thinking about is like I feel like everyone's getting into making bread, like baking, now that in quarantine. And so I think it could be fun to do something with like this like blob like rising, like kind of like a bread, like I don't know, like dough, yeast rising. Or there's also this YouTube channel I watch where this person just, it's like no music, and it's just them like decorating a cake with like a ton of royal icing, and it's like the whole time. And I like the idea of just like, I don't know, because these are just things that I've been consuming a lot of, like, as I've just been in quarantine. So I think like it just represents my feelings, I guess. So this repetition, this like process, or this part of like this process. I was thinking about like something being like sandblasted, but I don't know how hard that is to do in
Sand.
It'd probably be
Sand.
kind of hard.
Yeah. When you involve thousands of particles, things get difficult. But there's a particle system in cinema that you could experiment with. I think the basic concept you're talking about, though, these things that give you, they're like visual therapy, they're like art therapy for you, watching these very satisfying processes. I think that's a great concept.
Cool.
Painting, bread
another one
rising.
was like painting. I could do a paintbrush. Also, like painting my nails has been like kind of helpful too, because it's like this one moment that I'm like, okay, like doing something for me, even though like no one's gonna see my nails. It's just like something that I do, and so it just could be like, yeah, Brenna gets it. But it's just like maybe like a brush, like painting something is just like really satisfying, and it like fills all the edges or something. Like I keep thinking about that scene in Toy Story where he like paints the boot, and it's just so satisfying, you know? You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, should check the chat.
Oh, I
People
haven't seen
that
the chat.
scene.
Anything? Yes. Okay, I actually made a YouTube playlist of all the videos I watch in quarantine, so I'll just drop that playlist in the chat.
Yes.
But anyway, those are my ideas, I guess. I had another idea, which was like something to do with like a video game, because I'm not a gamer girl by any means, except in the last 2 weeks I started playing Zelda, and like I've never played video games ever really besides Sims. And then all of a sudden I'm like so obsessed with Breath of the Wild that it's insane. And so it's like I feel like I'm not in control of my own life, and so like video games are helping me like gain some type of control in a way, maybe. I don't know. Same with Animal Crossing. I don't know, but something with video games. I know there's like a lot of cool visual video game stuff, especially like retro, like vintage video games could be fun. But I kind of like my other idea a little bit more. I don't know. So
Well, yeah, you got a bunch of ideas there, Steph, that I think could work, and you only have to have 3. So do you think you can get
right.
3 strong ones out of that pile?
I think so. Yes.
Steph,
Awesome.
I think your ideas would be great without this, but I just was thinking it could be cool too if you had maybe 3 stages of the same thing being made.
Oh yeah.
You know, like, so that all 3 of them kind of like, because they could connect in the way that you described it. They could connect in that's like sandblasting and painting and carving. I don't know. Like
That's
you
a
could see
really
that
good idea.
or something.
Excellent suggestion.
I think this idea kind of started to like even weeks before a little bit before I knew that this was going to be a project. I was like watching these videos. I was like, oh, it'd be kind of funny if I like made a video of like me and I'm the thing like being sandblasted and painted and like renewed again, because I just feel like I'm being like torn down, and then like hopefully at the end of the quarantine I'll like come out like maybe better. I don't know. Maybe I'll just come out the same or even worse. Who knows? But yeah, anyway. Thank you for the suggestion. I like that.
A wooden Stephanie marionette. How it's made.
A voodoo doll.
A voodoo doll. Cool. Anybody else have ideas they'd like to present to the group? Quick quack, have you been washing your car a lot? Wait a second. You married into the quick quack business,
yes,
didn't
I did.
you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm at the owner's house.
She's the quick quack princess.
Yeah, but anyways, my father-in-law gave me this sticker. And he's like, I was like, this is the coolest thing you guys have ever made. Anyways. Sharing time.
Mine aren't animated, but I have enough of like a setting built up that I could maybe show that. That's cool.
Totally.
Let's see it.
Sweet.
Nice isometric perspective. Uh-oh, you're on mute, Colton.
Okay, sorry.
There you are.
My idea is to create 3 loops about like sports being canceled and just like the feeling that people have about their favorite sport getting canceled or like their team not being able to play anymore. And so I kind of wanted to make like unsatisfying videos or like
I love
something where you
this.
feel cheated.
I was supposed to send you links, wasn't I?
Yeah. I found one video or one example that's kind of good.
Okay.
But so my first one is going to be a basketball hoop, and the ball is going to come in and like bounce on the rim a little bit. And then I was thinking that the backboard would like open up and the ball would get like eaten through it rather than going through the hoop.
That's cool.
So that's one idea. And then I also wanted to do a golf one. Let's see. Okay, here we go. So this is my golf one.
Those textures.
Yeah, I was kind of messing around, but the ball would come like rolling towards the hole. And then as it gets closer, the flag was gonna like pop up.
The flag's going to be the thing that pushes it out. Cool.
Yeah, there's gonna be like a big cylinder on the bottom that like plugs the hole.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully you can envision that.
Really can.
And then the last one I was going to do is like a baseball stadium. And this one's like, I'm still working on it, but I was going to have like the ball coming over the fence. And then as it's like going over the fence, this thing is going to like grow out and block the ball so that it doesn't go over. So those are my 3 ideas. I don't know if you guys have any feedback or.
I think it'd be cool if you did like some soft body dynamic. Well, you don't have to do this, but when you were talking about the basketball one, I was thinking it would just like go around and then it would just deflate and then like melt or something, because then it's like you're expecting it to go, but then it doesn't. I don't know. It'd be cool to like mess with some soft body dynamics if you wanted to. But I like all of your current ideas. That was just a thought.
Cool.
I think we've all been working on our soft body dynamics over the quarantine, the isolation.
Good one.
Thanks, Brenda. I like that last one. I think that last one's a good solution, Colton.
The baseball one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a bird is like, come on, like bounces back.
I think those
Excellent.
ideas are really cool.
Thank you.
What's next?
What about, who do we want to hear from? Who are we dying to hear from? I'm kind of dying to hear from Bram. Those are
Words I've never
Bram's
heard.
ideas. I don't believe that.
Well, since Monday, I've rethought my life. And I don't know, the things I had on Monday, the ideas I had I wasn't like super jazzed about them. I'm kind of going the same route as Steph, where I've just like looked at what I've been like consuming media wise and just like trying to do something about that. And I've realized that I've been watching a lot of videos of like my favorite songs on YouTube that are just like slowed down and reverbed and just like laying in the sun in my room on the floor and just like zenning out that way.
Awesome.
And like a lot of these videos have really gorgeous like looping animations in them that just like are just scenes from like 80s anime movies, and they're all just super gorgeous and really beautifully toned, and like the animation is nice. And so I want to make something as like an homage to that sort of style, where like, but it takes into account some of the like the feelings I've had about being stuck inside and what like the places I wish I were instead, and like
Yeah.
like pick a song for each and a place for each GIF. So I have like one of my ideas, or a few of my ideas, are like this scene of a figure on the top of like a mountain, so like Mount Temp, and like just sort of the top is peeking out of clouds, and like there's just me on the top, and it's like just a rotoscoped figure of myself because I don't know how to make myself in 3D. But and like another scene is like me on the very edge of a pier at the beach, just like very serene little sceneries that I put myself in for these like songs, and yeah, just stuff like that.
What's what's the famous painting that's the guy, you see him from the back, he's out on a pier and there's like really tumultuous waves. It's like the icon for romanticism in art.
It's like man standing on cliff or something.
I
had a test on that.
Did you?
I should know this.
Yeah, I should too. I can't remember who made it though.
It's sublime though. Do know that.
Sublime, something like, yeah, that's what I imagined your pier one looking like, Bram.
Yeah. I'll have to look it up. What was it called?
I'll find it for you, Bram.
Yeah, if you Google romanticism.
Like romanticism, man on cliff.
It's called Wanderer Above the Sea of Fog.
See, I knew it was something vague, like descriptive or something.
By Caspar David Friedrich.
Oh, yes. Yeah, this is, yeah.
It's not water, it's fog, isn't it?
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's looking down on an almost impenetrable sea of fog in the midst of a rocky landscape, which is really a metaphor for life as an ominous journey into the unknown.
Into the unknown.
Yeah, so I was like, I was really stoked on this idea more so than my other ones, just because I don't want to like treat it as like a giant exercise in like motion and dynamics, because I feel like that's not what this idea is about. But I like the idea of like building a scene and like an entire setting for each one of them, because that excites me more than making everything move really dramatically.
Yeah.
And there will be movement, but just not like very intense movement.
Yeah, you're supposed to give us a glimpse into your brain, into your state of mind, your mental state, your emotional state, your creative state during the isolation. So that's totally legit.
Psychedelic stuff might help too.
I haven't dabbled in that.
But like, I feel like the way that they represent emotions could be, even if you have a different emotion you want to represent, might be inspirational.
Yeah. That was it for me.
Okay. Thank you, Bram. Feels like we need to hear from Deb. It just seems that way.
Oh, I'm still very lost.
How can we help you
That's it.
find yourself, Deb?
Not be in quarantine anymore.
You should represent your life post-quarantine.
Okay.
I mean,
I
just a
feel,
suggestion, right?
yeah. I don't know. I'm having a hard time conceptually thinking of stuff because I know what I want them to look like, but I need to conceptually make it reasonable. So, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, it's what are your, for all of you guys, I think Bram's approach is a good one. You know, what kind of environment are you making here? What kind of a glimpse into your psyche are you making? And then you are going to execute that vision in a simple way. And considering we have 7 days left, a simple way is practical. Jared or Morgan, do you have anything that you want to share before we go into a brief little demo and then split up?
I'm working on it.
Okay. Curious to see how Morgan's isolation experience is going. Well, we saw a little bit. You were outside the other day, right? Tanning.
Porch. You're on the porch.
Oh. Yeah, it's raining now. It's been raining all week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's sad.
What do you think, Jared?
Well, I'm doing my nice little character animations of my hand, my little hand cartoon.
Is that the direction you decided on?
Yeah, it's fun. And I also got that guy to give me a 50% discount on bendy limbs.
Sweet. Very cool. Do you want to show people, can you show them that one sketch where the hand is sitting and like one of those with the Pac-Man eyes?
First off, this is my little guy.
He's a 4-fingered hand.
Yeah, he's cute. And so I have the iconic scene from Flashdance where the woman pours the water on herself, and so it's gonna be the little hand doing that, and it's gonna be like hand sanitizer
instead of water.
Yeah, And so we're going to do that. And then I'm going to have one where it'd be like a conveyor belt where they're putting little gloves on all the hands and giving them masks. And yeah, that's about all I've really got so far.
Well, I personally love the flash dance hand sanitizer idea.
Yeah, that one's going to be good. Yeah, basically like from Spy Kids did.
What? This is what he's talking about in case you're not familiar with the image.
Yeah, it's a pretty sensual scene. She's a stripper that I learned that I did not know that before.
Is that what the movie's about?
Yeah,
Okay.
I guess it makes sense, but
Flash dance makes sense. I
yeah,
found
it's a
this.
nice little play on
That's
words.
hilarious.
I thought it was referring to the late 90s, early 2000s web animation technology.
Like player or
Flash player, exactly. Now it's called Adobe Animate Dance.
What's that Flash place in Lehigh? Isn't there like a big blue building on the hill? It's called Flash.
Off flash drive.
Oh,
Yeah, Flash
that's
Drive. Yeah.
Flash storage. Yeah, they
Ah.
make flash storage.
Wow.
That place is like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. No one ever goes in or out.
That's true. You just drive by Flash Drive all the time.
Okay, is anybody interested in a simple dynamics demo where a ball rolls down a ramp and hits another ball, which the second ball shatters into 100 pieces?
I'm interested, and I also want to know how to make like a ball roll, but it's on flat, because I know that they can roll down with gravity, but is there a way to make it just roll?
Yeah, well, you remember our wind trick we learned on Monday?
Oh.
I would put one of those wind forces on it. You can also give it, if you just want it to be like it's been tapped at the beginning and then slowly come to a stop, you could do the initial force thing, but otherwise I would use the fan to keep it going.
Okay.
The fan, the wind.
Wait, but like, so the ones that I have, maybe this is an easy fix, maybe it's not a fixable, but my little creativity ball is on a spline. So then it's keyframed where it starts and where it ends.
Courtney.
Can it roll along that?
Yes. I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
Courtney, where the heck is Courtney?
Sorry. He's yelling at his sister.
It's okay.
He feels famous now.
You guys, this is going out to so many people. Tens and tens of people are going to see this. How many of you guys are using the class broadcasts? The last one took a long time to post, so I'm glad Stephanie.
I've watched all of the ones that I've missed.
Oh, good. I feel compelled to edit them and post them. And then I go back the next day or 5 days later and see that like 9 people have watched it. So it's much better than 1 or 2. Okay, I am going to share. Oh, I need a sneeze button. I'm going to timed it perfectly. Thank you, Jared. Okay, let's do a simple machines demo, and maybe it'll help a couple of you with some of those dynamics issues we've been talking about. Okay, I'm gonna put you guys over here. I was gonna make a ramp, but I think a pyramid would be more fun to have a ball roll down, don't you? Okay, you remember that other day when I was telling you how to hide these directional arrows? This is a prime example of why you'd want to hide them, because I want to grab the little orange handle that will allow me. I can see it now. There it is. That would be a prime example of wanting to hide. I would just option D those things so I could see this orange handle and make my pyramid shorter like that. There we go. I'm gonna have a ball roll down that. We're also gonna need a plane, but not a 400. We're gonna go 2000. And we're going to go to ND so we can see our lines. So it looks like the original 1981 Tron. We're going to option D to get back our arrows. And we're going to have a sphere. Oops, see, dang it. I just want the arrow. There we go. Too small. And let's make both of these spheres into, oops, both of these spheres into icosahedron spheres. And we might need more segments, so let's go to 32. Okay, so I'm going to call this one trigger ball. And let's go about adding tags to these things. Simulation collider body, meaning it's not going to move, but it's still going to react. And let's make this guy into a rigid body. And let's make this guy into a rigid body. Pretty simple setup, right? Okay. Deb, how do you feel about that much that we've done so far?
Love it.
You're with us still? Everything we just did made sense to you?
Yeah. I like to watch the tutorials again though because I have terrible connection, so it's always like blurry and I can't ever see anything, but it looks good. I'll have to watch it later, but it looks good.
Okay. Okay, awesome. Let us trigger ball. Okay, on this ball, we're going to need to throw it inside a Voronoi fracture. Remember that day when we made, what was it, a dog that we made or a human fall to pieces? Voronoi fracture.
Yeah, I was gone. Sorry.
What? Okay. We need more pieces. How about that? How about that many pieces? And we're going to put the dynamics on the fracture object, and we are going to say on collision instead of immediately, and we are also going to make sure apply tag to children all is on. And We're just gonna see if that works. Look at that. It did work.
So cool.
Happy Easter.
Happy broken Easter eggs, everybody.
Woo, pinata. I think that's what I'm going to do is a pinata of myself and then quarantine as the bat.
I'm going to see
What
how
does
many
the
pieces.
inherit tag do again?
Let's see, where is inherit? Oh, this one. This tells you how many pieces within the hierarchy receive the dynamics. If I have no inherit tag, then this is what happens. The exact same thing. That wasn't supposed to work. There we go.
Oh, there.
Yeah. So yeah, the inheritance is how many child objects receive the dynamics. Okay, so I'm gonna see how many fragments we can get away with here.
Can I ask another question?
Yes, ask away.
If you were to like render this and like fill out all the materials for the scene, but you wanted to like make the ball look like it was rolling onto like this invisible pyramid or structure, whatever's underneath it, would you use like the traffic lights to make it disappear from the render, or how would you do that?
Yes, I use that all the time. If I don't need something to fade away, if I just need it to disappear and reappear, my favorite thing to do is on the attributes tab in the basic tab, just to keyframe these things right here, visible in editor and visible in render. By the way, can you guys see my mouse right now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it doesn't appear in the recording, which is unfortunate because you look at the tutorials on YouTube and it's like, I don't know where the mouse is. I need to figure out how to turn that on. So yeah, you can keyframe these on and off with these little keyframes right here. So if I wanted my pyramid to be invisible, I actually don't need to keyframe it. I can just do that.
This might be a dumb question, but
no such
can you
thing.
explain what the difference is between the editor and the renderer?
Yes, the editor is what you see in this viewport as
Okay.
we mouse around, and render is what happens when you export a still or a movie.
Okay, thank you.
Good question. I bet lots of other people had that question. Let's be honest, right? Am I right, people?
Nobody had that question.
Wait, can you repeat it?
Can I repeat the question? How many of you are wondering what the difference is between visible editor and renderer, like the two traffic lights?
Yeah, and the answer?
And the answer is, if you have something turned off in the editor, you won't be able to see it here, but it will still render. But if you have the renderer turned off, you won't be able to see it here or in the render. And if you have it only in the render, it means you won't be able to see it in the editor, but it will still render in your still or movie that you export.
Okay.
Just gonna do something real quick. I'm gonna make this ball into French fries.
Delightful.
You were hoping I would do that, weren't you?
Yes. Some type of food. Any type of food, please.
Remember how to do that? Remember how to use your own custom geometry on the Voronoi? Sources, point generator. Let's drag in plane instead. And then when we look at it from above, it's like this perfectly pixelated. It's like a potato, if you've ever used a French fry maker. Let's see if this works. Whoa! That was unexpected. But fun.
That was really fun. Oh my gosh.
It's like those bloomin' onion
That's how they make the bloomin' onion. They slice it, they roll a bowling ball down a ramp, and it knocks the onion slices into the deep fat fryer. That's great. And if I go in here and I reduce the number of width segments, it's going to reduce the number of French fries. Okay. That's fun. That's enough for dynamics for today. Oh, you know what we should do? We should eliminate the ramp. We should get rid of the ramp. We should change the initial position of this sphere. And on the trigger ball, we are going to set a custom initial velocity. It's going to need to be a lot more than that. Doesn't take much. All it has to be is a collision. It doesn't have to be a high-speed collision.
So if you add a velocity to something, then it'll like roll or move or whatever. Like what would happen if you did that to a cube? Would it even move?
You'd have to have a lot of initial velocity, and then it would just probably just slide a little bit. If you turned the friction all the way down, you know, you're tempting me. I want to do it now. I want to make it happen.
Well, I watched a video one time on like getting a cube to roll, and you have to do like lots of things to get a cube to roll. You had to like do the whole like mapping kind of thing.
Yeah, you probably had to do weight mapping so it wasn't all evenly weighted.
Yeah.
You want a cube to roll? What kind of a madman are you? Mad woman.
You know, like a dice.
Oh, I take it all back. Let's do this. Let's give it rounded edges at least. And then let's put our simulation tag rigid body and give it an initial custom velocity of 1,000 centimeters. Hey, look at that.
Sweet.
It behaves just like dice.
It's kind of fun. This is like not safe for school. Oh, anger.
The other cool thing is if I give it a angular velocity on Z, that didn't change anything. See, the angle, I don't know if I need to have it in Z. Do I need to have it in X?
Oh, to do what?
The initial angular velocity, maybe it's not going to be very apparent because it's a square sitting on a plane, but that's how you get it to go off to the left or right or up or down.
Oh, right,
especially if it's in space and it's just not doing anything.
Those never seem to correspond right away to the one.
Yeah, it's hard to figure them out. Oh yeah, that's what we were looking for. See that dice roll, Morgan?
Oh yeah. It's a lot easier than the video I watched on YouTube.
Let's see what happens if we turn the friction of the plane way down. Friction 1% and friction it's just black ice. No more rolling. We can probably take the custom initial velocity down to like 10. Nope, it needs more than that. Does anybody play bocce ball?
Yeah.
With cubes. Have you ever played it with cubes on ice?
That's like that Olympic game.
Yeah. Curling.
Yeah.
How many frames do we need for it? Oh, I just barely hit it. Okay, we'll stop. We could do this all day. Okay. Anything else I'm missing from the chat?
Are we having appointments today for anyone?
Yep. We better break for appointments. We can start at 3:30. Yes, unless you guys have anything more that you'd like to go over as a group, let us split into individual appointments. And I would like to look at rough drafts. Luke and I would both really like to look at rough drafts on Monday. Is that true, Luke?
Indeed, quite.
I like the lighting on Bram right now.
I was just about to say that.
It's developed nicely. It's really dappled.
It's dappled HDRI images on Bram's
Bram, your
face.
lighting is always on point.
I have found a good system.
Bram, you're just on point all the time.
I've found a way to open the curtains in my room to shine it onto the wall behind my computer so it reflects back onto my face nicely.
Perfect.
Are you using Octane, Bram?
Octane on my face?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Is that a 32-bit HDRI image in Octane, Sky Object?
It's a gigapixel photo.
Gigapixel.
Just to get the most out of my face.
All right, let's get this document. If you leave GIFs looping, if you have a bunch of tabs, each one with GIFs looping them in them, is that going to take up your processor power?
Good question. As someone who has at least 100 tabs open at any given time, it does take a lot of processor power in general.
100 tabs. Okay, I don't know if you still have the link, but here it is. And we'll see the group of you on Monday. Happy April 8th. We don't have any. We have Easter this Sunday.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter, Roy.
Happy Easter, everybody.
Happy Easter, might I say.
Thank you, Steph.
I need social interaction.
We all do.
Hope.
I won't see you guys on Monday because I'll be driving, but
Oh, that's right.
it's been a pleasure. I'll see you on the Wednesday.
Wave to these sculptures outside of Vegas, the colorful rocks for me.
No, I don't drive by those.
The Seven Wonders or whatever.
Oh, do you drive by? Yeah, the Seven Wonders. Do you drive through Nevada, the north part?
Yeah, the really cool looking part that's empty.
Oh my goodness. 12 hours of surface of the moon.
Yes. Thankfully it's 10.
10, okay, good.
Okay, bye everybody.
Bye everybody.
Bye.
Colton, it's your turn.